Before we get into the video, I would like to give a huge shout out to all of the developers of each of these mods and those who ported the 1.8 versions. I take no credit for the creation of any of these mods, I am simply releasing them because I enjoy them. Also, it would mean a lot to me if you could drop a like on this video, as I spent a crazy amount of time making it. Subscribing also helps me out a ton and make sure that you never miss out on any mod folders or showcases that I post on this channel. But with that said, let's jump straight into it. Enjoy the video, guys. Hey guys, and welcome to the long-awaited release of my summer mod folder. Now, this video is simply going to be dedicated to showing you all of the mods that I am currently using right now, showing you all of my settings that I personally use, and walking you through the mods so you can customize them to your personal tastes. Now, as a little disclaimer here, this mod folder doesn't actually have as many mods as mod folder v3, so if you're looking for as many PvP based mods as possible, be sure to go ahead and check that video out. But basically, this mod folder is simply all of the mods that I'm using right now. There are some mods from mod folder v3, there are some mods that I've showcased on my channel since then, and there are some mods that I haven't showcased at all that are brand new. And that's why this isn't actually mod folder v4, because I hope that mod folder v4 will just have as many mods as possible, guys. But without further ado, I'm going to show you guys how to actually install this mod folder, because it's not as simple as dragging everything into your mods folder like with everything else, but you will need Forge 1.8.9. There will be an installation tutorial for that at the end of the video. But right now, if you already have Forge installed, I'm going to show you guys how to install this mod folder. The link to my mod folder is down in the description. Once you've downloaded it, you will have this zip file that I have open on my screen right now. As long as you have Forge installed, this should be super easy. Simply type %appdata%, head into your .minecraft folder. Before you do anything in your .minecraft folder, drag this LabbyMod folder into it, just like that. Then open your mods folder, open the mods folder in here, and drag everything out of here into your mods folder. And there you go, it's installed. Now, with that said and done, I'd like to take a moment to let you guys know that not all of these mods are 100% allowed on Hypixel for certain, although they're not technically bannable. Hypixel has this really weird ruling with mods, and basically any cosmetic mod should not get you banned. These are simply mods that do not offer you in-game advantages, and none of these mods will offer you any kind of advantage over other players whatsoever. So they shouldn't get you banned, right? But they exist in this area called use at your own risk, which basically means if you use these mods and you do get banned, you accept full responsibility for using mods that aren't officially allowed. But trust me guys, you should be fine. My mod folders have like over 200,000 downloads. I've been using most of these mods for years, and some of them every single day in every single one of my videos, and I haven't even had a ban or so much as a warning from a staff member. But just so you guys know, there is a little bit of a risk there. But without further ado, the rest of the video is going to be dedicated to showing you guys what each of the mods do, all of their settings, all of the settings that I personally use, and timestamps for each of the mods are available down in the comments section. I've left a pinned comment with the timestamps to each mod walkthrough, so you don't have to watch the entire video if you want to go to a specific mod. But before we do actually get into that, there are a couple of things that you have to do before we actually get into the mod folder to make sure that you don't get banned for using these mods. So first things first, when you load up Minecraft after installing the mod folder, you want to hit escape and you'll find these new buttons at the top left here. We're going to press the animations button, and here you want to press on mods, toggle sneak, and set all of these values to false. Also, while you're here, there's a direction hood mod installed alongside the old animations mod that you might not want. It's basically a little compass at the top of the screen. You can turn that off here if you want to. Also, you'll want to type /toggle sneak in the chat like that. Hit enter and make sure toggle sneak is disabled. Toggle sneak is not allowed on Hypixel, so turn this off here, guys. But you can keep these two options on. In fact, you should have these two options on. I'll walk you through them later, but these two need to be on. And finally, the last thing that needs to be done is in the custom crosshair mod. This mod is actually 100% allowed, but they have made one part of this mod bannable. So this highlight players portion here will actually change your crosshair color whenever you hover over a player. For some reason, ever since my last mod folder video, Hypixel has made this bannable, so as long as you don't turn this option on, you will be 100% fine. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting us off, we have a mod that was deemed the best Minecraft mod ever created by Technoblade himself, and it is perfect for all of you lazy people out there who just want free karma. It is the Auto GG mod, and it will automatically type GG for you at the end of games. Yes, we have a mod that automates the process of typing an entire 2 letters now, guys, but you've got to get that free karma, am I right? So to set this mod up, all you need to do is type /auto GG in the chat. You can type toggle after it to turn the mod on or off. So you can see you can just toggle it on or off. It's a simple switch right there. Or you can also type delay and then a time. So if I type delay, it'll be a 1 second delay between the game ending and the GG message. So basically, if I set it to 5 seconds, that means the game will end and 5 seconds later, I will say GG. I just personally have it to 0 seconds, so it just says GG instantly. But moving on to the next mod, we have another mod which is perfect for lazy people, and this one gives you even more free stuff. Honestly, this is one of the best mods on Hypixel, and it is actually one of the features of the brand new MVP++ rank. So if you don't want to pay for the MVP++ rank, you can actually get one of its features for free, and this is the auto tip mod. What this mod does is type /tip all for you every 30 minutes or so, which sends a tip out to every single person on the network with an active network booster, which gives them coins and karma and XP, and it gives you coins and karma and XP. And honestly, if you keep on tipping people, you can really start to rack up yourself a ton of coins and karma and XP. And we know karma's useless, but coins and XP are what you really are going to get a lot of out of this mod. So I've been on Hypixel for about, what, like 15 minutes right now. I really haven't been on for all that long, so if I type /AT stats in the chat, you can see what I've actually racked up in this 15-minute session. I've got 130 Skywars coins, 60 UHC coins, so many coins in so many different games, as well as 2000 XP for literally doing nothing. I have done nothing at all to earn any of these coins, and in my lifetime, this mod has earned me so many free coins and so much free XP. You can see here, lifetime tips sent. It sent 13,000 tips for me without me having to do one single thing. So this mod will pretty much work the second you load up, but if you do want to customize it, you can do /AT toggle to turn it off. You can do /AT messages. If you have it to shown, it will show you when you actually tip people. If you set it to compact, it'll be like a more compact message, only 1 line long, or you can just set it to hidden so it does it all in the background, which is what I personally prefer. Perhaps the most useful mod for PvP is the toggle sprint mod, because when PvPing, you want to pretty much always be sprinting, and this mod allows you to constantly sprint without even having to hold down your sprint key. You just press a button once and then you're sprinting forever. This actually allows you to focus on more things like hotkeying and strafing, as it frees up an extra finger to do those things. So to set up the toggle sprint mod, simply type /toggle sneak in the chat and hit enter, and it will bring up this menu. Make sure that this is disabled. I told you guys to do this at the start of the video, but just double check, because toggle sneak is not allowed on Hypixel. But make sure that these two features are indeed enabled. make sure that toggle sprint is enabled and keep sprint is enabled. Once you've done that, press save changes, go back into your options, go to controls and scroll down until you find keep sprint and bind it to a key. I bound mine to my P key, but you can bind it to whatever you want to. This is going to be your toggle sprint button. So you can see whenever I press P, it actually toggles my sprinting, which you can see by the indicator toggling on and off in the bottom left. This mod stands out to me as the best toggle sprint out there due to how customizable this mod is. If we head back into the toggle sneak options, you can see that there are a ton of settings here, so we can enable or disable the HUD text. If we disable this, you will see the sprinting text disappear, but I am actually still sprinting. It literally just hides the icon if you guys want a cleaner HUD, but I personally like having the indicator down there. You can also change the color mode to chroma, so as you can see, when I toggle that on, the text actually turns multicolored, which looks awesome. You can edit the text, which I will go into shortly, and you can also edit the position. So if you click on that, you can drag this around to anywhere you want on the screen, but I like it being out of the way in the bottom left personally. And these last few options don't apply for Hypixel, so we're just going to ignore them for now and jump straight into edit text. The meme potential with this option is so strong, as you can customize the text to be whatever you want. We can make the sprint text say kill aura enable, just as a little bit of a joke there. We can also mess with the RGB sliders to change the color to whatever we want, and now you can see whenever I'm sprinting, it actually says kill aura enabled. Now the text on this mod will actually change depending on what action you're performing in game. So when I start flying, you can see that the text now says flying, but we can edit that text as well. We just head back into edit text here and press the arrow keys until we see flight text up here, and then I don't know, we can make it say something like up and away, and there we go. Whenever I'm flying, it just says up and away, and when we go back to sprinting, it says kill aura enabled. I really love this mod. Also, as a side note, for the toggle sprint mod to work, it actually requires the player API mod, so that's why that mod is also in the folder. It doesn't do anything else other than make toggle sprint work. Moving on to the next mod, we have auto who, which will automatically run the /who command for you every single time you join a ranked Skywars game, which shows the names and ranks of every single player in your current game. This mod used to be a lot more useful, as the /who command used to actually show the ratings of those players as well, so it was really useful to know that information, but sadly they removed that. I still keep this mod around though, because sometimes I recognize players' names. Mouse delay fix is such a tiny mod that you probably won't even notice, but honestly, it's one of my all-time favorite 1.8 mods. It has saved my bacon more times than I can count, dude. If you're not a complete tryhard like me, you might not actually notice this mod, but trust me, you will notice a difference if you haven't already been using this mod. What mouse delay fix does is it fixes a massive hit registration bug in 1.8. In 1.8, your crosshair doesn't actually always line up with where you're actually attacking. So if you spin too quickly and try to hit somebody, your sword hasn't like caught up with your crosshair yet and you won't land that hit. But this mod completely fixes that. All of your hits will register, I mean, provided you have a good internet connection and the server's not too laggy. I mean, there's all kinds of factors in hit detection, but at the very least, this will make sure that you land more hits and completely fix that 1.8 bug. Another absolute lifesaver of a mod that you won't notice at all is the memory fix mod. Now, what memory fix does is it fixes the leak in memory issues caused by Optifine. Have you ever had it when you've been playing Minecraft for say like an hour or two, and then your game starts stuttering and freezing every few seconds and you can only fix it by restarting your game? Well, this mod will pretty much entirely eliminate that issue, or at the very least make it take ages before it starts to happen. It is so nice to be able to have this game open for hours and hours and hours and never have to restart it. you guys can obviously see at the top left of my screen, and you might just be thinking, ha, it's just another Batty's Cowards or DJ Tasty mod clone, but personally, I think it looks a lot cleaner, and as we dive into the options, you guys will see there's actually a lot more to this mod. So without further ado, let's get into the settings. So to customize this mod, all you need to do is type /CowardsHUD in the chat, which will bring up this menu here. And from this menu, you can already tell just how many options there are in this mod. So obviously you can drag it around and put it wherever you want. You can enable or disable shadow text, which is pretty self-explanatory. It just puts a little shadow behind the text, but I personally think it looks cleaner without the shadow, but I do think the shadows also look cool. That is up to you. You can enable or disable the mod just with this little button here. You can disable the direction portion, so if you're not interested in the face or the direction and just want the coordinates, that's where you can do this. You can make it so that the mod actually stays shown when you open up the chat here, which is really useful, especially with coordinates. So you'll see all of the other things on my screen, like my FPS mod and my keystrokes mod. As soon as I open up the chat, they disappear, but as long as I have that option selected with the cowards mod will actually stay when I open up the chat, which is really useful because then you don't actually have to remember your coordinates. You can literally just read them off and type them and tell your teammates exactly where you are. So that's another very useful option. You can add a biome indicator, so obviously that tells you which biome you're in. I'm currently in a jungle biome. You can make it so it's vertical, which is the mode that I currently have, or horizontal, which displays the information like that, which is also pretty clean. You know, you can see the direction and everything. So if you're not interested in the little face icon or it taking up too much of your screen, that is also an option that you can choose, but I personally prefer vertical. And here you can change the scale, so you can make it smaller, you can make it larger. I think that's a really cool option. And finally, we get into the details, which is all of the colors. So background, you can change the background color obviously with these RGB sliders, and you can make it chroma. You can change the opacity with this slider here. I just leave it all at the default, to be honest. You can change the prefix, which is where it says X, Y, and Z. So you can change the prefix to regular, parentheses, which is just these brackets, or square brackets. I personally think regular looks the best. You can obviously do chroma. I mean, what mod doesn't have chroma these days? And again, there's RGB sliders to set whatever color you want. You can do it for all aspects of the mod. So you see, obviously, coordinates. You can change the color of the coordinates. And here you can actually change how precise the coordinates are. So I just have whole numbers because I don't need anything that exact, but you can see you can add 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place, or even 3 decimal places if you want to be that exact about your coordinates. You can toggle the direction here, so you can make it so it shows the face. If you just want the direction without the face, you simply turn that off, but I like having the face there. Again, change the color, make it chroma. Biome, I have that disabled, but again, change the color, make it chroma. And that's about it for the mod, guys. Coming up now, we have a massive mod that would require its own video for me to cover every single setting. There are just so many options available for this mod. It is the 5zig mod, and it's responsible for all of the junk that will appear on your screen when you first open up Minecraft after installing my mods folder. So the first thing you want to do is hit escape, press options, and click on the 5zig mod button at the top left here. You'll want to click on this customize display button and just press this minus button until everything is gone. Basically, all these modules are just little displays that will appear on your screen, but we actually have other mods to do all of those things. Most of them are in my mod folder v3. I actually don't really use any GUIs on my screen now with this current mod folder, so if you do want GUIs for your screen, either wait for the next mod, which is the Labby mod, which has a ton of things, or go back and check my mod folder v3. But you'll definitely want to delete all of these. They're pretty ugly in my opinion, and they're not the easiest things in the world to set up. So once you've done that, you'll be in the main section for the 5zig mod. Like I said, I'm not going to go over everything, but because there are just so many options in this mod, it would take me forever to cover everything. But the main bit that I actually use, because I don't use much of this mod, I'm gonna be honest, I only use the display options. So here you can set up a load of options for the display on your Minecraft. I personally use this static FOV feature, which makes it so your FOV never changes. So by default in Minecraft, your FOV is pretty dynamic. When you run, your FOV changes a little bit. When you get speed, your FOV like goes insane. When you get slowness, your FOV goes really small. I really hate that, you know. I chose my FOV for a reason. I don't want it to change, man, so I'm glad that this little option exists. There's also a ton of other options like transparent chat background, which I personally use. You can set the chat limit so you can scroll up further in your chat history, and you can just go over each of these in your spare time. As you can see, if you hover over each option, it actually gives you a description of what it does. So it's really easy just to go over in your own time and choose what options you actually want to enable. Like I said, there's way more things, man. You can have capes, you can have, I don't even know what this is, coordinates clipboard. Apparently you can copy coordinates to your clipboard or something like that. I don't know, man, but you can go over it in your own time. That's all I'm going to show for the 5zig mod. The next mod is the Labby mod, which, like the 5zig mod, is an absolutely gigantic mod that would require its own video to go over all of the settings. So I'm not going to cover every single aspect of this mod in this video, but I am going to show you guys how the mod works, my personal settings, and how to actually set it up so it works well with other mods. Also, there is a bit of confusion as to whether this mod is allowed or not. Old versions of the Labby mod are not allowed, but as long as you use the version that I give you guys in this mod folder, you should be completely fine as long as you don't enable some disallowed features. So I'll show you guys the disallowed features now. So if you press escape and head into your options, you'll see this Labby mod settings button at the top right. Click on this to enter the Labby mod configuration menu, which I think is beautiful. This is so well designed and so easy to navigate. You don't even need me to walk you through this, guys. It is so easy. Just go through all of these settings in your own time. If you hover over them, it will actually tell you what the setting does. Obviously, there's just an easy on-off switch there, and some have extra settings here that you can go into with the gear icon, and also you can search for certain settings. So, for example, if I want to search for improved lava, there we go. It's so easy to navigate, guys. You don't even need me, but this has to be off. This is a macro. Macros aren't allowed on Hypixel, and you do actually need to set things up so that this mod does work well with other mods in this mod folder. So personally, I use the old animations mod because I like the way that it animates things. I like the mod developer. I'm just a huge fan of this mod. But the Labby mod actually has 1.7 animations built in that you can't turn off. So to make sure that this mod actually continues to work as well as the old animations mod, set these settings up exactly like this. And as long as you copy my old animations mod settings exactly as well, you will be completely fine. Also, make sure that interact and destroy at the same time is turned on. For the rest of the features, there are a few things that are present in other mods. So crosshair sync, for example, this is basically the mouse delay fix. I mean, it doesn't really matter which mod you use. There's also speed FOV, which, like I showed you in the 5zig mod, I have it on in there, but it doesn't really matter, you know, it's all personal taste. But here are my settings if you want to pause the video and enable them. Like I said, if you just hover over them, it will explain them anyway. I really like this mod. It is such a cool mod. It also has an in-game GUI, so you can actually configure a GUI for both in-game and the escape menu. In the escape menu, I've set it up so the server info of the server I'm currently connected to, so obviously Hypixel, so I can just press escape to see how many players are on if I'm curious. There's also a Spotify add-on which I use, which shows my currently playing song in Spotify, which I can actually play or pause using this button here. And there's also a TeamSpeak menu, but I think you actually need an add-on for this to work, and it's 2018, who uses TeamSpeak, let's be real, but you can set all of these up right here. I personally don't really use that one, so I don't know how to set it up, but obviously you can set when this updates, so if you want to update more often, set this lower, although I think that will use maybe more of your FPS, I'm not 100% sure, and obviously you can hide it when Spotify is off. There's also your server info, so you can turn that off and set where you want to align it. You can drag it around, do all that kind of stuff. In game, I don't actually use most of them. Like, there's all kinds of things. Like, there's a click test. So if you want to flex your CPS and maybe, you know, practice that, you know, you can see your clicks at the top left there. There's a few other things which I don't really know what they are. AFK timer, although I don't know how you turn that thing on, in all honesty. There's services that you can show your Spotify in-game as well if you want to. You can just click and drag that around. You can show like a text version of it for if you don't want that big panel covering up part of your screen. There's TeamSpeak text, which will show the channel name you're connected to, the people talking, and these will actually light up when people talk, I believe. There's a YouTube subscriber counter if you actually want to flex your sub count on everybody, and obviously you put your channel link in here so we can get your subscriber count. But what I actually use in here is the items. So I use this to get the armor around my hotbar. So what you want to do is turn the helmet on, press settings, and turn the durability display off, and then you can simply drag it down, and as you can see, there's actually slots right here next to your hotbar for those items to go. So I just drag all of them in, make sure durability is off on all of them so that it actually looks so much cleaner, and that's what I use to get my armor around my hotbar. It's so easy, so clean, and it just snaps right into place, man. It is beautiful. But to go over some other things, obviously there's FPS, coordinates, basically everything you could ever possibly want on your GUI ever is right here. I don't know if there's a minimap, but if there is a minimap, those also aren't allowed on Hypixel, so don't use that. But I don't know if there is, honestly. Like I said, there's just way too many things in this mod, man. It is insane. The last part of the Labby mod is this add-ons section up here, which basically allows you to install even more mods within a mod. It's actually ridiculous how meta this thing goes, but you can see there's a ton of add-ons that people have made. Like, you can see the statistics of the World Cup games in your Minecraft if you want to and stuff like that. It's actually crazy. There's a few add-ons that I personally use that will be in the mod folder, so you will actually have them. So you can screenshot things and upload them straight to Imgur, which is an image hosting website, so you can instantly take a screenshot and send the link to your friends. There's a few other ones down the bottom, like Better Hat, which just makes the 1.8 skins hat layer look more detailed. There's World Edit CUI, which I believe is enabled by default, so if you use any servers with World Edit, that makes that easier. There's item physics, which a lot of you guys ask me about. That is so when you throw items on the ground, it has a more realistic drop animation and will lie flat on the floor. I really like how that looks. There's the settings profile mod, which allows you to save profiles of your settings. So like, you could have one set profile where your controls are like W, A, S, and D, save that as profile 1, and then you could set another where you use the arrow keys and set that as profile 2. I don't personally use it, but I believe it came with the mod anyway. And there's Optifine, which, you know, why not? I think Optifine comes with the mod as it is. While we're in the add-on section though, you shouldn't download some add-ons if they don't look like they're allowed on Hypixel. For example, the damage indicator add-on, do not download this, do not add it. Damage indicators are not allowed on Hypixel. I don't think this add-on even works on Hypixel anyway, but do not download this. Obviously, there's a lot more things you can use if you want to. There's even a custom crosshair mod in here. Like, who even needs the one I give you? There's motion blur, there's color correction. I don't even know what half of these things are, but you can experiment if you want to. And when you install them, sometimes you get to configure them, like with item physics, so you can disable it, mess with the rotation speed and stuff like that. But I personally like to leave them at their default values, even though, oh, okay, I can't change it back. It wouldn't let me change it back at first, but that's the Labby mod.
Okay, so that was the biggest mod in the entire mod folder. Next up, we have the smallest mod in the entire mod folder, which is the in-game server switcher mod, which does what it says on the tin. When you press escape, you will notice that there is now a huge server list button in the middle. If you click on it, it will just take you to your server list where you can join any server you want without even having to log out. You can see I'm still on Hypixel here, but I'm also on the server menu. It just saves you a couple of seconds of disconnecting and going back to the main multiplayer menu. A lot of these mods are for lazy people, okay? And it's also pretty useful to just check your ping without having to log out from the server. The next mod is one of my all-time favorites. It is the old animations mod, and this brings back the old 1.7 animations that were removed in version 1.8 of Minecraft. I have no idea why Mojang changed them. I literally think they just randomly decided one day, okay guys, our game isn't ugly enough. How can we make it even uglier? And they changed all of the PvP animations. Blocky Ting looks so dumb in version 1.8, you can't eat and punch at the ground anymore, the rod is just so close to the screen, like, what was their decision when they decided to do that? I don't understand. But with the old animations mod, you can actually restore all of those animations to their former glory. Blocky Ting looks normal again, you can eat and punch at the ground at the same time, and the player has finally stopped chewing on the rod. He has taken it out of his mouth and moved it further away from the screen again. Now, this mod is extremely customizable, which is why I love it so much. You can take the best parts of 1.8 and all of the good animations from 1.7 and combine them together, which is what I have already done for you. So if you guys do want my settings, first press escape to open up the pause menu, click on the animations button at the top left and copy all of these options here. And once you've got all of these options set exactly like mine, click on this arrow to go to the second page and copy all of my settings again. Once you've done that, just hit save to exit. Next up, we have a mod that 99% of you guys probably already use, and that is of course Optifine. This mod will significantly improve your FPS and might even take you up to that all-important 60 FPS so that you can play lag-free. I used to play on such a bad PC and only got like 30 FPS or so, but Optifine actually doubled that and took me all the way up to 60 FPS so that I could play pretty much lag-free. You'll definitely want to use this mod. The perspective mod will allow you to use the cheat breaker F5 function, which allows you to turn the camera 360 degrees around your player whilst in third person mode, which looks like this, which is just so cool, guys. By default, this is bound to the F key, but you can actually change it in your controls options right here. The button works like a toggle switch, so you press F to enter perspective mode and then press F again to exit. But if you want to make it so that it works whilst you hold the button down, type /perspective mod hold in the chat just like this and then hit enter, and now it will only work whilst the F key is actually held down, and it will return to first person as soon as you let go. If you don't like that though and want to go back to the toggle mode, all you need to do is type /perspective mod, press, and it will return to the toggle function. Next up is the custom crosshair mod. Now, I don't actually use this mod to customize my crosshair anymore, which I know kind of defeats the purpose of having the mod, but hear me out, okay guys? Basically, I use it for these settings here. I like having my crosshair invisible in third person because I don't think that's available in vanilla. I don't like my crosshair blocking my face, so that's the reason I keep this mod around. But I'm going to show you guys the clip of me showcasing it in my mod folder v3 video anyway, so you guys can know how to set up your own custom crosshair. I will show you guys how to use this highlight players feature, but again, please remember that highlighting players is now bannable, so do not use this feature of the mod. You can use any other feature you want and customize your crosshair however you want to. Just don't enable the highlight players option. The amount of customization that this mod offers is absurd. You can change the shape of your crosshair, the size, the width, the height, the thickness, the color, the outline color, the opacity, and that's just the least that it can do. To start customizing your crosshair, press the grave key, which is the button to the left of your 1 key on your keyboard, to open up this menu. From here, you have so many options available, and I'm going to walk you through each of them now. So
So the first option just allows you to enable or disable the mod. If you turn it off, you just get your regular texture pack crosshair, but you can also change the color here. So if we enable it and press edit here, we can set the color of our crosshair to whatever we want, and you can see a little preview of what it's going to look like in this box here. Just mess around with these RGB sliders, and again, you can mess with the opacity. You can make it completely invisible or fully opaque. I prefer to have it just slightly invisible at around 200 right there. I think that that looks perfect. Next up, you can actually change the crosshair type. So crosshair type 0 is just this plus that you can see, which I use personally, but crosshair type 1 will change the shape into a circle. Crosshair type 2 will change the shape into a square. Crosshair type 3 is just your texture packs crosshair, and cross type 4 is this little up arrow thingy. The next option allows you to completely hide the crosshair if you so please, so that you don't actually have to press F1 to hide your crosshair. You can just have it completely invisible whilst keeping the rest of your HUD, which is useful if you're doing something like a challenge. The next option makes it so the crosshair remains visible when you actually press F1. I don't personally use that, but you can if you want to. The next one makes it visible in the debug screen, so when you press F3, the crosshair actually still shows up. Again, I don't personally like it. The next option makes it so it's visible in spectator mode, so whenever you're in game mode 3, which is the brand new spectator mode, this will make it so that you can hide your crosshair in that mode if you want to. And finally, you can make it visible in third person mode, so when you press F5, your crosshair stays there, but I don't like it covering up my face, so I like to turn it off. This option right here will add an outline to your crosshair. So you can see I've got this black outline on the edge of my crosshair, but you can disable that if you want to and just have the crosshair by itself. But if you do put an outline on, again, you can customize this. You can change the color of it with these RGB sliders. Like I can have a red outline if I want to. And again, you can change the opacity. It is incredibly customizable. I really, really like this mod. The next option will put a dot in the middle of your crosshair for extra precision if you want to, and again, you can mess with the dot color using these RGB sliders if you so please. These next few options are really what allows you to make this crosshair your own. As you can see, you can just mess around with these sliders to get whatever shape of crosshair you want. Like, I don't know who would want a PvP with that, but you can use that with your crosshair if you want. You can also change the gap in the center, so you can see as I mess around with that, the arrows actually get further apart from each other, and you can also mess with the thickness of the lines. These last few features are so cool, so if we actually go ahead and turn this option on, it will make it so the crosshair changes color whenever you hover over a hostile mob like a zombie or a skeleton or a creeper or something like that, and you can actually change the color of that with these RGB sliders. So if we make it this kind of orange color here, you'll see that whenever I get in reach of this zombie, my crosshair will actually turn orange. I love this feature of the mod, and you can do the same with passive mobs. So I've got a green color on whenever I hover over passive mobs, so when I get close enough to the sheep, you'll see that my crosshair now turns green. This next option is one that I personally use, and it will actually cause the crosshair to highlight players whenever you hover over them. I set mine to change to this solid red color, but again, you can mess with the RGB sliders and the opacity to make it change to whatever color you want. But as you can see, when I get within reach of one of these players over here, my crosshair will actually turn red, and I love this feature so much. This next option will give your crosshair a cool looking lock-on effect whenever you right click with a bow. So if we turn this on right now and start right clicking, you can see that the crosshair kind of does this lock-on animation, which looks so cool and is actually a visual representation of how charged your arrow actually is. So that is a really great feature if you like using the bow. And finally, the last option will allow you to have a rainbow colored crosshair, which just looks so cool, and you can actually adjust the speed of the animation with this slider down here, so you can make it cycle through the colors really quickly or incredibly slowly. I personally like it somewhere in the middle. The next mod is the Sidebar mod, which allows you to completely customize the scoreboard on the right hand side of your screen. So to get started, all you need to do is type /sidebar mod in the chat and hit enter, and it will bring up this menu. In this menu, you can just click and drag on the sidebar to place it wherever you want, and it will stay there when you actually exit out of the menu. If you're a psycho and you like your sidebar taking up half of your screen, you can go for it, man. The world is your oyster. But personally, I just like it on the right hand side of the screen there. You can set it back with this reset sidebar button here. You can change the scale to change the size of the sidebar, so if you want a really small, clean one, nice and out of the way somewhere, you can do that. That actually really doesn't look too bad in all honesty, but personally, I think it's just about fine at 100% scale. You can change the background, so here you can mess with the background colors. You can make it chroma, of course. Everything has to be chroma. You can set the opacity, so obviously you can make it completely invisible or fully black. I like it just at the default, which is at 50 with fully black. You can add shadow text here, so as you can see when I enable this, there's a little shadow behind each of the text, which if you disable the background, to be honest, that can look really, really clean. But personally, I just prefer it with the background on and with no shadow. You can disable the red numbers, which is a godsend, dude. By default in Minecraft, just because of the way that sidebars work, they have these ugly, pointless red numbers down the right-hand side that are actually impossible to get rid of just because that's how sidebars work, man. But thankfully, this mod has you covered and you can get rid of them. It's beautiful. Or if you want to, you can just get rid of the entire thing, you know. Like I said, the world is your oyster. If you guys don't know what the QuickPlay mod is, basically you press a key on your keyboard, which by default is the R key, which will open up this menu here. And as you can see, it has all of the games on the network. You pick the game that you want to play, you pick the mini game in that game mode, and bam, you're straight in there. And now I'm in the Skywars game, I can go ahead and join a Mega Walls duel without even having to like go to any hubs, without having to go to the prototype lobby. No commands, nothing. This mod is perfect and I absolutely love it. But where it really shines is with keybinds. Now, you could do this with the original QuickPlay mod. All you need to do is right click on the game, you press this bind to key button, and in this menu you can see Skywars. So I don't know, we'll bind it to L. Seems like a pretty appropriate letter for Skywars, right? And then when you press L, you're taken instantly to the Skywars menu. This was available in QuickPlay 1.0. It's nothing really too special, but 2.0, it takes it to another level, man, because now you can bind each individual mode to a key. So you can right click on a mode like Solo Insane, bind it to a key, and as you can see, I've already done that here with the G key. So now when I press G, I'm straight into a Skywars game. I don't even have to move my mouse, man. I don't have to open up any GUIs, nothing. I just press this G key once and I'm straight into a game. Like seriously, he has made this mod a million times better and it is so good and so easy, and I'm going to walk you through it now. Also, the bonus of this mod is that now it will automatically update itself when new games are added. So in the original QuickPlay 1.0 version, every time a new minigame was added, you had to update the mod manually, like go ahead and re-download it, otherwise it wouldn't appear in the menu. And honestly, that was a pain. I found myself not really updating the mod all that much, and I'm sure a lot of you probably didn't as well. But the beautiful thing about the rewritten version of this mod is that now it will automatically update itself whenever new games are added. Like seriously, this is some kind of black magic. I have no idea how this happens, but it is so awesome. So now you will only ever need to update this mod when he adds new features or fixes some bugs or something, which is absolutely awesome. So to configure this mod, all you need to do is type /qpconfig in the chat and it will open up this gorgeous, completely redesigned menu, which I really like. It's got blurred backgrounds, it's got animations, it's got smooth scrolling, and oh, what's not to like? Let's be real. So you can choose your primary color, which is obviously this blue I've got. You can mess with the sliders and see what you want, or you can obviously set it to chroma. I mean, it's 2018. If a mod doesn't have chroma, you're doing something wrong, okay? So this will be the color when you hover over the games, like Cops and Crims there, and when I move my mouse away from it, sorry, it goes back to gray, which is my secondary color. So obviously I have this gray color. Again, you can mess with it, make it whatever you want, even chroma if you want to. moving on to the GUI section, this is where you can blur the background. So if you guys saw my video on the Blur MC mod, this basically does what that mod does, except it only works on the QuickPlay GUI. So like every single time you open up this menu or the config menu, it will have this beautiful blur effect. But if you don't want that, you can just set it to false and it goes back to boring old regularity. You can also turn off the fade in animation. So as you can see, if I turn that off, it's just really snappy, just instantly opens up. But I like to look fancy, okay? I'm a man with a little bit of class. You see, it's got that nice little fade in effect. I really like that. You can mess with the scale of the main menu because in the original version, the zooming was a bit weird in the menus. It depended on like your screen size and resolution and everything, and it could sometimes look super weird. So if it does happen to look weird for you, you can actually mess with this scale here to make it whatever you want. You know, you can make it super tiny if, you know, if that's your taste. It doesn't actually look all that bad, or you can make it massive. Again, if that's your taste, I won't judge you, but I personally like to leave it as it is. I think it's pretty good for the screen size that I have. The only awkward thing is, look, I can't get it on exactly one, man. Like, why? But now you can move on to reverse scrolling. So if you're one of those strange people that likes to scroll up to go down, I have one question for you, and that's, why you like this? But you know, the options there, Bug Froggy, he's looking out for the little guy. You know, he knows you exist. He's got you covered with this option. And there's also any key closes GUIs. So by default in Minecraft, you know, you guys play the game, you have to press escape to close a GUI. But with this, any key you press will close a GUI, whether it's W, S, A, D, I don't know, even like the equals key if you want to, but I don't personally use it. You have usage statistics now, which will obviously send like anonymous statistics to Bug Froggy to help make the mod better. You can read the policy and everything in that if you want to do that. There's edit keybinds. This is where you edit all your keybinds. You can right click on one and delete it to get rid of it. It's like your controls, really. Just click on it and press the key that you want to bind it. By default, open main GUI will be the R key, but again, I rebound this to V, and you can reset the keybinds with the button at the bottom right. Next up, we have swap to lobby 1. Now, this will make it so that every single time you join a lobby, it will send you to lobby 1. Some people might like it. I personally do not. You can have update notifications. Again, you will not need to update this mod nearly as much as 1.0, but it's useful to get new features and things like that. There's custom lobby commands, which I think is really cool from this mod. So before, if you wanted to go to like, I don't know, if I want to go to lobby 23, I have to type /swap lobby 23. I have to right click on this and click on 23. But with this custom lobby command, you can do /hub Skywars 3 and it will take you to Skywars lobby 3. And I think that's pretty sweet. You know, I think it's pretty sweet if you just want to go straight to lobby 1 without having to turn that option on. Next up, we have the instance display. Now, this is a little HUD that will tell you exactly what server you're currently in. So each server has like a specific instance. So if you do /where am I, you will see in the chat, it will say I'm currently connected to Skywars Lobby 3. And now this instance display will constantly display on my screen what instance I am in. So if I join a minigame, you'll see it'll update to the new instance, which obviously if I type /where am I, it matches. So I don't know. I think some people might find that pretty cool. I don't personally find it all that useful, so I don't use it. But if you do use it, you get a few options. You know, you can move it around the screen as you'd expect. You can mess with the opacity, so that changes like the like how visible it is. As you can see, it's kind of invisible a little bit there, but again, I don't personally use it, and you can display it over the chat. So normally GUIs hide whenever you open up the chat, but with this option, you can make it stay on the screen even when you open it up, which can be pretty useful, you know, if you're trying to type it to a friend or something. And finally, the last few options are for the party mode. So this is the number of seconds launch randomization should take. So the party mode will randomly pick a game for you, and this basically determines how long it will take before a game is randomly selected. And again, you can change whether the GUI appears or not. Party mode is an incredible feature of this mod because Hypixel has so many games, man, and sometimes you might just not know what to play. You know, you might want to leave it to the fate of the mod to choose what to play. So if you click on this party mode down here, you can customize the list of games. You know, you can disable all, enable all. You can go through them individually, turn some on, turn some off, and then you press launch, and bam, it will randomly select a game for you. Or In my case, it will crash my game. This is a very good mod demonstration. All right, we're gonna try that one again because that has never happened to me before. It's just my luck as I go to showcase it, but seriously, the party mode is awesome, and as you can see, it just picks a random minigame, selects it at random, and then shoves you straight in there. It's a really, really cool feature, especially if you're super indecisive or bored and you have no idea what to play. Now, the final feature of this mod is really awesome. It actually has a premium feature, so if you want to show a little bit of gratitude to Bugfroggy for taking the time to develop this mod, like seriously, it's awesome. You can donate a small amount to get yourself a glyph in the lobbies. Now, what this is a custom image that you can actually upload yourself, and that image will appear above your head in any of the lobbies. So as you can see, I set this QR code as my personal glyph. You can go ahead and scan it if you want. There's a little surprise waiting for you on the other end. Like, who knows, it could be a link to an unlisted video that contains the secrets of the universe. But yeah, you can set yourself whatever picture you want above your head, as long as it's appropriate, of course. But I think that's a cool little feature in the lobbies if you want to go ahead and get that. Next up is the Resource Pack Organizer mod, which is an absolute lifesaver if you have a ton of resource packs like I do. It allows you to organize your packs into folders just like I have done right here. So for example, all of my Perix pack edits are neatly tucked away in this Perix folder right here. The mod also comes with a search function so that you can quickly search for any pack you want. So if I want the black recolor of the Perix pack, all I need to do is click in this box down here and search for the word black, and as you can see, the black version of the pack pops up right there. Setting this up is really easy. All you need to do is click on the Open Resource Pack Folder button down here, make folders, and just drag your packs into them. It's literally that simple. So for example, if I wanted to make a pack folder called Demo, I just right click, press New, press Folder, and call it Demo, and then all I need to do is drag a pack like this straight into that folder, hit the refresh button down here, and you should actually see the folder pop up. If we go back here, yep, you can see the demo folder right there with the Bread Wars pack in it. It is so easy. As you've probably noticed, throughout all of the Skywars gameplay in the background, I am playing in nighttime, even though most of these maps play in boring old daytime. This is thanks to the Time Changer mod, which allows you to change the time on your own client, which means it only changes for you, it doesn't change for anybody else, but it still looks really cool. All you need to do is type /day in the chat and hit enter to play in daytime, /sunset to play at sunset, and /night to play in nighttime. You can also make the sky cycle from night to day really quickly by doing /fast time and then a multiplier. So if we want to make the day and night cycle 3 times faster, all we need to do is type /fast time 3 and hit enter, and as you can see, the sky starts cycling from day to night super quickly, which can look pretty cool. But if you just want to go back to the default server time, all you need to do is type /reset time in the chat and hit enter, and then you just go back to the vanilla time of the server. The next mod is the Toggle Chat mod, which allows you to hide certain elements of the chat, which is especially useful for content creators like myself, as it allows for me to hide things like my guild chat and my private messages whilst I'm recording or streaming. If used properly though, this mod can really clean up your chat and get rid of a lot of unnecessary clutter due to the sheer amount of customization that it offers. To get started, type /TC in the chat and hit enter, and straight off the bat, you can see that there are 3 whole pages of options that can be navigated by using these buttons at the bottom right here. Hovering over each option will give you an explanation of what it does on the right hand side, so you can go over them in your own time and decide which elements of the chat you actually want to turn off. I can make some recommendations though. You definitely should turn off stuff like mystery box messages, lobby join messages, and Soulwell messages,
Just turning these off will make your chat a lot cleaner and less spammy, but also turning off some other things like the leave and join messages can help out a lot too. However, I know that sometimes you might want people to be able to message you anyway or show up in the chat even if you have it toggled off. Well, with the whitelist feature, which is this button down here, that's actually possible. So if I want my friend, I don't know, Billy Bob to be able to message me even though I have my messages turned off, all I need to do is type in his name here, press add, and now his messages will show up regardless. If I want to remove him, all I need to do is type in his name again and press remove, and his messages will no longer show up. Finally, the last mod is the vanilla enhancements mod, which allows you to enhance certain vanilla aspects of the game. So to get started, simply type /veconfig in the chat just like this and hit enter, and it will bring up this list of options. I encourage you to read through them in your own time. I mean, they're all really self-explanatory. Everything perfectly describes itself. So, for example, enable clear chat. This will actually improve your FPS. All you need to do is click on the option here and click on this box. When it's filled in with white, it means it's enabled, and when it's black, it means it's disabled. But I use clear chat. I think it looks so nice, and obviously it also slightly increases your FPS, so I have that enabled. There's also other things like show enchantments of your currently held item just above your hotbar, so you'll see in the gameplay if I have like a sharpener sword or something, it'll say SH1 just above my level. I really like just subtle features like that, man. This mod is packed full of them. There's also an option somewhere for Optifine zoom here, which disables the slow mouse movements. So normally when you zoom in with Optifine, I'll disable it here. You'll see it has this cinematic camera, which is really awkward to move around. You really have to like give your arm a workout just to drag around like the tiniest bit. But actually, if you enable that option here, it will just make it so when you zoom in, it's just your normal mouse sensitivity, which is really nice. Like I said, there are a ton of options in this mod. They're really easy to understand. You can mute portal sounds, which are super annoying in lobbies. You can mute wither sounds, which are super loud. Mute those annoying flying pets. Why are you not muted, man? Why are you not muted? You can hide the boss bar at the top of the screen, like you can see I have done, even though it's not done with this mod. I've done it with another mod. Okay, I have so many mods that do the same things, but you guys get me. This mod is incredible, okay? It's packed full of features. I highly recommend going through them. We finally did it, guys. We made it to the end. Every single time I make one of these, I feel like I'm just going to be showcasing mods until the end of my days. If you made it this far, comment down below so I know who you are. You're a legend, and I appreciate you, dude. Anyway, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and now let's get straight into the Forge installation tutorial. To install Forge, first you'll need to head to this download page, which I will link down in the description. Once you're on this page, find the box that says download recommended and click on the Windows installer icon underneath it. After a few seconds, a button will appear up here and you can begin your download. When your download has finished, simply double click on the file and this Forge installer will open. Make sure that install client is selected by clicking on it, and then simply click OK and it will download all of the Forge libraries. It might take a few seconds, but once it has finished, this little pop-up will appear. When this pop-up appears, you can open up your Minecraft launcher, or if Minecraft is already open, you will probably need to restart it, and you will see if you click on this arrow that there is now a brand new Forge version. You'll want to click on play and let Forge generate all of the files before you attempt to do anything, so I'm just going to sit here and let mine download. You'll know that you've done it right because when Minecraft eventually launches, it will have that little white screen with the anvil animation first, and as you can see, it will say at the bottom left, powered by Forge.
Now, if you head into your Minecraft folder by doing %appdata% and hitting enter, going into .minecraft, you will now have a mods folder that you can drag mods into. Go back to the start of the video to see how to install my mods folder.
Epic, 3 letters, don't forget it. Pronounce soul, but I got soul in excess. The next best to the best, but the best ain't rain yet. So I guess we all kings, yes. A rising tide will raise all boats, but if you throw stones...